Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, I wish I felt stronger? Or maybe you've been walking up a flight of stairs and noticed it's a little harder than it used to be. You're not alone, and you're certainly not stuck. Because here's the truth, you can build strength, boost energy, and improve your health right from home, and you don't need a single piece of gym equipment to do it. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Strength training? That's for bodybuilders, right? Or, I'm too old to start now. But strength training isn't about lifting huge weights or getting six-pack abs. It's about building functional strength so you can move better, feel more energized, and stay independent for as long as possible. And yes, it's 100% possible at any age and in any living room. In fact, studies show that after age 30, we begin to lose as much as 3 to 5% of our muscle mass per decade if we don't actively work to maintain it. That loss isn't just about aesthetics, it's directly tied to energy levels, metabolism, balance, and even brain health. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia and Muscle found that older adults who engaged in regular resistance training had significantly lower risks of falls and improved cognitive function compared to those who didn't. So yes, this matters. In today's video, we're diving into how you can start building real, functional strength at home using just your body weight. We'll talk about the science behind strength training, easy exercises you can start doing today, and how to overcome the mental roadblocks that might be holding you back. And we're not just focusing on the physical, we're also going to cover how strength training benefits your emotional health, your confidence, and even your sleep. Before we keep going, I'd love your help with something. If you're enjoying this video so far, comment Y below. If not, comment N. It helps me know what's working and what to improve. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Now let's dive deeper. Let me tell you about my friend Carla. She's 62, lives alone, and for years, she thought strength training meant spending hours at a gym with intimidating machines. But after a minor fall while gardening, her doctor recommended she start doing bodyweight exercises at home. At first, she was skeptical. Push-ups? No way, she said. But she gave it a shot, starting with wall push-ups and chair squats. Within a few weeks, she noticed a difference. Her balance improved, her posture was better, and she even slept more soundly at night. Carla didn't change her whole life. She just started moving with purpose. So how does it all work? When we talk about strength training, what we're really talking about is resistance training. Your muscles respond to resistance, any resistance, by getting stronger. That can mean lifting a barbell, but it can also mean lifting your own body. When you squat, your legs and core are resisting gravity. When you do a push-up, your arms and chest are doing the same. This kind of training does a few incredible things. First, it stimulates muscle growth and maintenance. But it also strengthens your bones, which is essential, especially as we age. According to the National Institute on Aging, resistance exercises help preserve bone density and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. That's huge. And don't worry if you're starting from zero. You can start right where you are. Even standing up from a chair repeatedly is a powerful leg and core workout. Holding onto a wall while stepping side to side builds hip strength and balance. These aren't flashy moves, but they're incredibly effective. Let's go over one of the simplest full-body strength moves you can try right now. No equipment, just you. Ready? It's the bodyweight squat. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart. Slowly bend your knees as if you're sitting back into a chair. Keep your chest lifted, and make sure your knees don't go past your toes. Then push through your heels and stand back up. That's 1 rep, do 5. If that feels easy, do 10. And if that's still too easy, hold the bottom of the squat for a few seconds before standing up. You'll feel it. Now, the beauty of bodyweight training is that you can modify any exercise to fit your level. Can't do a full push-up? Start with wall push-ups. Stand at arm's length from the wall, place your hands against it, and lower yourself gently toward the wall, then push back. That's a push-up too, and a great one to start with. Or try glute bridges. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Squeeze your glutes and lift your hips. Hold for a second, then lower. It strengthens your core, hips, and lower back, vital for everyday movements like walking or getting out of bed. What matters is consistency, not perfection. You don't need to break a sweat every time. You just need to keep showing up. Even 10 minutes a day can make a difference. In fact, a recent study from McMaster University found that short, consistent bouts of strength training had nearly the same muscle-building effects as longer sessions, especially in older adults. So don't feel pressured to do it all, just do something. We'll get into more specific movements, progressions, and weekly plans shortly, but first, I want you to absorb this. You are capable. You don't need a gym. You don't need fancy clothes. All you need is your body, a little bit of space, and the willingness to start. In the next part of this video, we'll talk more about how to build a routine you can actually stick to, why recovery is just as important as exercise, and what to do when motivation disappears. Plus, I'll share the #1 mistake beginners make and how to avoid it. Stick with me, we're just getting warmed up. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's keep going. Because what we're talking about here isn't just about building muscle. It's about building momentum, especially when you're doing this from home and on your own terms. One of the most common questions I get is, how do I create a routine that actually sticks? And that's such a great question because it's not just about doing the exercises, it's about making them part of your life. So here's something that's really helped a lot of people. Don't start with a strict schedule. Start with a simple anchor habit. For example, you could do 5 squats right after brushing your teeth in the morning. Or maybe a short round of wall push-ups before lunch. These small, consistent cues make it easier to turn movement into a daily rhythm, not a chore. James Clear, in his best-selling book Atomic Habits, talks about how you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And strength training is no different. The key isn't a perfect routine, it's a sustainable one. Now, I promised we'd talk about recovery too, and here's why that's crucial. When you do strength exercises, whether it's squats, lunges, or push-ups, you're creating tiny micro-tears in your muscle fibers. This is totally normal and actually part of the process. But those muscles don't get stronger during the workout, they get stronger during the recovery. That's why rest days are just as important as workout days. You don't need to push hard every day. In fact, especially if you're just starting out or over 60, your body may benefit more from doing strength exercises just 2 to 3 times a week with rest days in between. On those rest days, light walking, stretching, or even gentle yoga can help your body stay limber without overdoing it. Here's something else that matters a lot: form over speed. It's tempting to rush through exercises just to get them done. But slowing down, focusing on your posture, and feeling each muscle activate makes a huge difference. Let's go back to that squat example from earlier. If your knees are caving in or your chest is dropping forward, you could end up putting strain on your back or joints. But if you keep your chest up, your feet flat, and move with control, even if it's just a few reps, you're doing more good than rushing through 20 sloppy ones. A good rule of thumb? Start every session with a quick mental check-in. Am I focused? Am I breathing? Am I moving with control? That awareness alone will take your strength to a new level over time. Okay, let's talk about progression. One of the most satisfying parts of strength training is seeing progress. But since you're not adding weights at home, the question becomes, how do you keep challenging yourself? The answer is in tempo and volume. Try this. Instead of just doing 10 squats, slow them down. Take 3 seconds to lower, hold for 2 seconds at the bottom, and then stand back up. Suddenly, those same 10 squats are much more challenging. Or increase your reps gradually each week, maybe from 10 to 12, then to 15. You can also add new variations, step-back lunges, chair dips, or incline push-ups using a countertop. And the cool part? Your body adapts fast. One study in the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine showed that adults over 60 who perform just 2 sessions of bodyweight resistance training per week significantly improve their strength and balance in as little as 8 weeks. That's less than the time it takes for a houseplant to grow a few new leaves, and your results will last a lot longer. Now let's talk about the mental side for a second. Motivation can be tricky. Some days, you'll feel great and want to do more. Other days, just getting up feels like a chore. That's okay. Everyone has those moments, even fitness coaches and athletes. What matters is what you do when the motivation fades. One trick is to make the goal ridiculously small. Tell yourself, I'll just do one exercise. That's it. 9 times out of 10, once you start, you'll keep going. And even if you don't, you still showed up. That counts. Another helpful mindset shift. Stop focusing only on the end result, like weight loss or toned arms, and instead celebrate the process. Did you complete your session today? That's a win. Did you hold a plank for 5 seconds longer than last week? Another win. Let me share another story with you. This one's about Tom, a retired school teacher who started home workouts after watching his grandkids run circles around him. At first, he could barely hold a wall sit for 10 seconds. But he didn't quit. He kept a little notebook on his kitchen table and jotted down how many reps he did each day. A month later, he was up to 45-second wall sits and even added incline push-ups to his routine. The pride in his voice when he told me about it was unforgettable. That's what strength training does. It gives you visible proof of your progress, and that boosts your confidence in every other area of life. And one last tip before we wrap up today's section: pay attention to your breathing. So many people hold their breath when they're doing a challenging move, but your breath is your power. Try exhaling on the effort. For example, when you're pushing yourself up from a squat or a push-up, breathe out. It engages your core and gives you better control. We've covered a lot here, from habits and progression to recovery and mindset, but we're not done yet. In the next part of this series, we're going to tackle the deeper mindset blocks that stop people from staying consistent. We'll talk about how to stay motivated even when results are slow, how to make movement feel joyful again, and how strength training impacts your mental and emotional health, not just your muscles. So stay with me, because if you've ever felt discouraged, that next part might be just what you need to hear. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, go ahead and type "Y" in the comments if this video is helping you stay motivated. Your support means a lot, and it helps me keep creating content that truly makes a difference. Now let's talk about something that many people struggle with: staying consistent when progress feels slow or invisible. You might have started doing your squats and push-ups and thought, why isn't this changing anything yet? Or maybe some days the couch just feels way too comfy, and the idea of moving feels like a battle. I get it. I've been there myself. What I've learned is that strength training, especially at home, isn't just a physical challenge. It's a mental and emotional one too. And beating those internal battles is just as important as doing the exercises. One of the biggest mindset shifts that helped me, and many others, is understanding that progress is not always linear. Some weeks you might feel stronger and energized. Other weeks you might feel stuck or even weaker. And that's okay. Your muscles and your mind are adjusting, growing, and sometimes resting. The key is to keep showing up no matter what. Let me share a story about Lisa, a woman in her late 50s who started bodyweight strength training after a health scare. The first few weeks, she barely noticed any difference. She almost gave up. But then she realized she was celebrating only big milestones, like losing a lot of weight or lifting more reps. When she shifted her focus to smaller wins, like waking up with less joint pain or feeling steadier on her feet, everything changed. Those small victories kept her motivated, and over time, her strength and confidence blossomed. Another important challenge is making movement feel joyful instead of a chore. If you dread exercise, you won't stick with it. So mix it up. Turn on your favorite music, try new variations of exercises, or even make it social. Invite a friend to do a video call workout or challenge each other to daily goals. The more fun you make it, the easier it becomes. Let's also talk about emotional health, because strength training doesn't just build muscles, it builds resilience. There's a growing body of research showing that regular strength training can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. One study published in Psychology of Sport and Exercise found that people who lifted weights 2 or 3 times a week reported significant improvements in mood and self-esteem. It makes sense. When you feel stronger physically, you feel stronger mentally. You gain a sense of control and accomplishment that spills over into all areas of your life. A big part of that is body awareness. Strength training teaches you to listen to your body, notice how it feels, and appreciate what it can do. Instead of focusing on flaws or what you can't do anymore, you start celebrating your abilities. That mindset shift can be truly transformative, especially as we age. Now, I want to highlight one of the most common barriers people face: fear of injury. This is especially true if you've had previous injuries or health issues, and it's a valid concern. But the good news is that bodyweight exercises, done correctly and with good form, are some of the safest ways to build strength. You control the intensity, the speed, and the range of motion. Always listen to your body. If something hurts in a sharp or unusual way, stop. But don't let fear keep you from moving altogether. Start slow, use modifications, and if you're unsure, ask a physical therapist or qualified trainer for guidance. Even a few sessions focused on proper technique can make a huge difference. Another helpful tip: focus on core strength. A strong core supports everything, from posture to balance to reducing back pain. And the best part? You don't need fancy machines for this either. Try this simple core move, the plank. Start by lying face down, then lift your body up onto your forearms and toes, keeping your body in a straight line from head to heels. Hold for 10 seconds to start. If that feels too hard, drop your knees to the floor but keep your core engaged. Over time, build up to longer holds. Strong core muscles make daily tasks easier, getting out of a chair, carrying groceries, even standing for longer periods without fatigue. As we approach the final stretch, I want to remind you that strength training is a journey, not a race. Celebrate every step, no matter how small. Coming up next in our final video, we'll recap everything and focus on how to create a long-term plan you can enjoy and maintain. Plus, I'll share some simple, actionable tips you can start right now that will set you up for success. Keep going, you're doing amazing. Alright, we've come a long way together, haven't we? It feels good to look back and see how much ground we've covered, from starting with simple movements at home, to building consistency, to overcoming those mental hurdles that can trip us up. Let's take a moment to casually recap the key takeaways. First, remember that strength training at home doesn't require fancy equipment. Your own body weight is a powerful tool. Starting small and building habits around daily cues makes it easier to stay consistent. Taking rest days is just as important as moving because your muscles grow and repair when you recover. Focusing on form and controlled movement keeps you safe and makes your workouts more effective. And finally, celebrating small wins, whether it's an extra rep, better balance, or just showing up on a tough day, is what keeps you motivated for the long haul. What I love about this whole journey is that it's about empowerment. When you commit to building strength, you're not just working on your muscles, you're working on your confidence, your independence, and your joy in movement. That's a gift that keeps giving every single day. Here's one last powerful scientific insight to carry with you. A study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that adults over 60 who engaged in regular bodyweight resistance training not only improved muscle strength, but also had better cognitive function and a lower risk of falls. That means strength training helps keep your brain sharp and your body steady, a true combination for graceful aging. Now, if you're wondering how to get started or keep going, here's a simple plan. Pick just 2 or 3 exercises you enjoy and do them 2 to 3 times a week. Keep your reps moderate, focus on slow, controlled movements, and remember to breathe. Track your progress, whether it's in a journal or an app, and celebrate each step forward. Before I let you go, we'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Here's to living your best life at any age. Keep moving, keep growing, and remember, you've got this.